The 2023 March membership meeting is now called to order. Thank you all for joining us. As an officer team, we are so excited to see everyone join us for yet another monthly meeting this year. As the 2022-2023 FBLA year continues, it is important that we get started on our preparation for State Leadership Conference. So this month's monthly membership theme is SLC Tips and Tricks. Reminder that this meeting will be recorded, so please accept the message that should have popped up on your screen regarding this. During this meeting, please be as interactive as possible. We want everyone to learn something new and take back for use in their own SLC prep. We want to start off tonight with a fun icebreaker.
Thank you, McKenna. We have a fun icebreaker laid out for you all tonight. It is Guess the Optical Illusion. This one's pretty simple. Each slide will have an optical illusion on it. There'll be two pictures in one. Just unmute your mic and say what you think the two pictures are. And if there are no questions, we can go ahead and get started. Can anyone guess what this first one is?
I am really bad at these because I only ever see one thing. But I think it's a duck. But I don't. Oh wait, and a bunny. Is it a bunny
It
too?
is. That is what it is. The beak of the duck is the ears of the rabbit. What about this one?
Well,
anyone?
It's a penguin with a face in it, right?
Yep. Can you tell what the face is?
Lincoln. Okay.
Yep. Can anyone guess what this one is? There's quite a few things in this one. Anyone?
Does it just have a bunch of faces in it?
Yeah, there's like a little guy. There's a man in the nose. There's a woman. The hand of the guy is the dog. And then there's like the big man's face.
Oh, wow.
And this is our last one. Can anyone guess what this one is?
Okay, I only see the frog. I can't figure the other one out.
If you turn your head to the side, you might be able to see it.
Oh my god, I see it.
What are you seeing?
If you
Turn
turn
your head so you're looking like from left
Okay.
to right.
it's a horse. Wait.
Yeah,
No, what? Where?
It's
The
just like
main-
the head.
yeah, the like eyes of the frog or the nose of the horse.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Good job, everyone.
Thank you. We hope you enjoyed that fun icebreaker as much as we did. I would now like to introduce to you our guest speaker tonight, Sophia Weber. Sophia Weber is the Mountains Plains Regional Vice President on the FBLA National Officer Team. She is also serving as the Kansas FBLA State President. We are very excited to have her with us tonight and to hear about the SLC tips and tricks and see what information she can offer us about the 2023 NLC in Atlanta this June. Help me in welcoming Sophia Weber.
Thank you. That was the first time I've ever had anybody introduce me for me. So I actually thought that was really cool. I didn't have to think about what my positions are. You just said it for me. But I'll go through SLC, some different tricks and tips that I have for that. And then I'll get into some exciting announcements for NLC. But with SLC, I would say enjoy it, because I think the SLCs are definitely one of the best parts of our organization. It's such a cool time to be with other members, because the connections that you'll make at a state leadership conference are ones that are more likely to hold longer in your life. Like, it's amazing to make connections at NLC, don't get me wrong, and there's some really cool people there, but there's nothing like people in your state. Those people are people that you can reach out to again, or they might be somebody that you are interviewing with for a different job, and it's just good to keep those connections within your state. And so I would just say, don't be afraid to go talk to new people and network with them when you're there. Like, everybody in FBLA, like, they're all there and they all want to see you succeed and they all want to succeed. So I would say, even if it's scary, like, especially if it's scary, just go, like, expand yourself, like, go talk to somebody new. You never know. Like, that's always what I tell people, like, you just never know what's going to happen. So maybe you'll meet somebody and they'll, like, one day you'll be like, see them again, and it'll be like this really great connection that you're glad you had. So for SLC, I would say that. And with your competitive events, this is your, like, first trial. This will get you qualified for nationals. Like, this is a really good chance for you to focus on the skills and the tools that you've been gaining so far because of being in this organization, and really just take a deep breath before you go and you compete. Like, soak it all up. And honestly, like, all of your hard work and dedication to your events will not go to waste, even if you don't qualify for nationals. The skills that you learn and the experiences that you have because of those events are going to be something that you can carry with you into whatever future that you choose. So just don't worry about qualifying for nationals. Just go, enjoy the moment, and soak it up. And then I do have some announcements that have to do with our NLC in Georgia, which we're all really excited for. The first one is that a little bit of a change from last year, but honestly, going back to our original tradition, one award ceremony. So instead of 2, it will go back to celebrate middle school and high school, everybody together. And then there are some different social activities that you guys can involve yourselves in. There will be an FBLA night. I believe it's June 28th, but there will be an FBLA night at the Georgia Aquarium, which is just about, it's in walking distance from all of your hotels. So it'll be a really good chance to get a discounted price for all of you to go, enjoy some fun, see those different things. And then there's also the World of Coca-Cola. You'll also get a discounted price if your chapter chooses to go there. And then there is a museum for human and civil rights that you guys can also go to. So just some other cool things that FBLA will give you a discounted price. I think you guys will really enjoy your time in Atlanta. Also, we will be bringing back our regional rallies. So there will be a Mountain Plains Region rally that you guys can all come to. You'll get to hear the candidates for next year. You'll get to hear their speeches, and we'll give out some awards, like Colorado may be winning some membership awards. So you guys might want to come and enjoy that moment. So I'm really excited for that. And there will also be at our expo hall, there will be regional booths like we had last year if you guys were able to attend. So there will be kind of a hangout spot for you guys to come play some games with some different people. And then this year we will also be having regional pins. So that'll be another fun thing to, like, add into our different regions. But that's my little update for SLC and NLC. Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you, Sophia. Sorry. Thank you, Sophia, for joining us tonight. It was great to hear from you and your advice and information about SLC and NLC for our FBLA members. We enjoyed having you, and I will pass it off to begin tonight's presentation.
Thank you, Teresa. We will now move on to our SLC tips and tricks presentation. With the State Leadership Conference just around the corner, it's time to start prepping. We want to share with you tonight a little bit about all of our tricks and things we have learned that are important to know about SLC.
So I will go first. So my like tip and trick for SLC is to get to know the layout of the Gaylord. So that's where the conference is held, for those of you that don't know, the best that you can as quickly as you can. Because I know that last year, even as a state officer, I had a little bit of trouble finding some of the places I was supposed to be at some points. So if you can, like, get down the Gaylord as quickly as you can, this will really help you know exactly where you need to go to compete, where to go for workshops, and for all the fun activities that the state conference holds overall. And this will help you stay on schedule, and it just gives you one less thing to stress out about during the conference as well.
All right, so I'll go next. And my little tip is to plan out what workshops you want to attend as soon as you get to the event so that you can have a more enjoyable and less chaotic conference. So this is kind of going off of what McKenna just said about knowing where things are, and this is knowing when things are. So you can attend everything you want to and get the best experience that you can get. Last year, I used Google Calendar to track where I was supposed to be. Like I'd write it in the little note, this is happening here and this is where I want to be. And that was really helpful for me, but whatever scheduling method works for you is definitely what you should use.
Hi everyone. My tip and trick for you is similar to McKenna's. Just make sure you know where everything's at because the Gaylord is huge. All the conferences kind of take place on just one side, but then you have to go to different floors. So just make sure you know to go ahead of time and allow yourself plenty of time before, so you have time if you get lost. Another thing I'm going to add to that is we have an app. I lived by that app last year. And I totally recommend it because it tells you where everything's at, when it's happening. It even has like a little layout of the Gaylord. It's in depth, and I went by that religiously last year at SLC. It was really useful, and I definitely recommend that to you guys.
Hey, so mine is the prep for your competitions with a friend. This can really help point out anything that you really haven't thought of, or you may not have noticed yet. And it doesn't even have to be with a friend. It can be with family or anyone. And this just really helps you kind of get comfortable presenting whatever you're going to present in front of you do know and you're familiar with. So it can really just help in your prep for your competitions.
All right, so my SLC tip for you is to use workshops as an opportunity to network, especially if it's out of your comfort zone. I don't know about you, but I went into this position as a super introvert, and I feel like taking the opportunity at state, whenever you have so many people around you, to really get to know people and put yourself out there is a great way to build your confidence, to build your communication skills, and to build a team of people who will support you in your future endeavors. So definitely, if you plan on making the most out of SLC, make sure you are attending workshops and making sure that you are talking with people and putting yourself out there, even if that's something that you're not typically comfortable with, especially if it's not something you're typically comfortable with.
So my SLC tip for you is to download any competition preparation materials you may want to access throughout the week, and make sure to download them ahead of time, as there's not always Wi-Fi wherever you are, since there's so many people at the conference trying to access the Wi-Fi. Even in your hotel room, sometimes it can be a little bit slow. So make sure that everything that you would need to prepare throughout the week or to present is downloaded ahead of time. And then also be sure that you're wearing comfortable and professional shoes, as there's a lot of walking around. We still want you in professional shoes in the competition areas, but if you can have something more comfortable, then that will definitely help with how much walking there is. And then also make sure to have fun and network with people throughout the conference, like what Brianna said.
Okay, mine is a little bit unconventional, but I am the person that spilled coffee on myself before my competition. So I recommend always packing like a Tide to Go pen or stain removing wipes in any sort, as you don't want to look unprofessional. And last year I didn't have any on me, so I had to cover up my stain with like my name badge, but it was very much a freak out moment for me because I didn't want to seem unprofessional before competing. So always make sure you pack something that can get stains out, especially on business clothes as well. You don't want to leave stains on the clothes, as they can be pretty hard to get out.
My tip is to always show up early whenever you can, whether this be at a workshop or your competitive event or going to general sessions. Sometimes events are running ahead of schedule, so not only does showing up show that you're really excited about your event, but it also gives you time to become more confident and prepared. And lastly, it just gives you some time to make connections and to network more with other members.
Alrighty, I cannot stress this enough. Please, please, please make sure that you are eating and drinking well. There is so much going on. There's so many workshops and people to talk to in your events. So it's really easy to forget to drink and get enough sleep and eat and just take care of yourself. And that really can lead to you kind of getting sick or not having the best SLC experience. And we don't want that. So please bring snack bars you can carry in your pocket and a reusable water bottle. There's water fill stations everywhere. And there's also coffee shops. So just make sure that you take the time to take care of yourself so you can enjoy this to the best of your ability.
My SLC tip for you is to take a moment to look around and really enjoy the moment. You've worked so hard to get here, so don't miss the moment. And remember, everybody there is just as nervous as you. So just breathe. And you have put in so much work. You've put in so many hard hours to get here. Don't let it be ruined by your nerves. Take one breath, look around, and you'll be just fine and have an amazing SLC.
Thank you all for listening. We hope that this was beneficial and that you learned some important ideas and tips that you can take back to your competitions and to SLC.
All right, and before we move on into our specific SLC Q&A, I was hoping that if it's okay that we open it back up to some questions, if anyone has any questions for Sophia Weber, since she's still with us tonight.
What's your favorite memory from attending your Kansas SLC?
That's a really good question. I would have to say my favorite memory was actually I'm gonna give two, because my freshman year when I got first an introduction to public speaking, that was like a surreal feeling. I was like, wow, all this hard work and it like pays off. But I'm not gonna like say that really counts because that year was virtual, so we weren't even in person. But that was definitely a really cool moment. And then I would say definitely just like campaigning for state office, and then like of course like ending up getting the position is just like a really cool feeling. And something else that I wanted to mention too that I didn't get to is that if any of you on here are interested in running for national office, we have just released our national officer toolkit on the national webpage along with our NLC website. So if you guys want to check all that information out, please do so. I would say like being an officer, and I'm sure everybody else on here can attest to this, but being an officer is just one of the most rewarding experiences ever. And it's just something that I always encourage people to try, because the worst thing that's going to happen is somebody's going to tell you no. And honestly, that's okay, because there's so much you can learn from just the process of campaigning that being told no in the end isn't that big a deal. So I would just say definitely just try, put yourself out there, and I don't think that you'll end up regretting it.
Does anybody else have a Q&A for her before we get into the SLC Q&A?
Yeah, I'm curious what your like favorite memory was as a national officer. Plus, you said campaigning for Kansas. So do you guys like campaign like nationals?
Yes, I'll do the I'm gonna give myself time to think about your first question and answer your second question. We do campaign at Kansas FBLA very similar to nationals, because we have campaign booths, and then we also have a caucus. Like everything is basically the same as how it's run at nationals, except for our campaign booths are only one day, because obviously our conference is a lot shorter than a national conference. But yes, we do get to like campaign with campaign booths. It's so much fun. We bring different stuff and it's just a lot of fun. There's like a certain room that's just a campaigning room in our convention center. So that's something that I really enjoyed. It was really cool to have people like come up and you just get to talk to them and just like network with them there too. And then I would say my favorite memory of being a national officer was probably NFLC in Denver, Colorado, because that was so much fun and all the state officers did such a good job of putting that all together. I can never thank Colorado enough for hosting, because that was so much fun. And also like having it in the Mountain Plains region was really cool because there were a lot of states in our region that were there. And so that was really cool for me. That was like the first event that I truly went to as a national officer with members, because all the other ones before that had just been like us as a national officer team, and we hadn't gone out yet as like being with members. And that was definitely something that I won't forget, hosting workshops there and just getting to be with everybody there in person. It was really special. So I'd say that's probably my favorite memory as a national officer.
Out of curiosity, how many like members do you have attend your Kansas SLC?
So Kansas we're not the smallest, but we're not the biggest either. I would say we have about, last year I know it was kind of our first year back from COVID. My state advisor just yesterday, and she was talking about possibly like 5,000 this year. So that's kind of where we're at right now, somewhere between 3,000 and 5,000, which is a very big gap.
Awesome, thank you. Does anybody else have any other questions for Sophia?
All right, I think I'm going to go ahead with this SLC Q&A. Thank you so much, Sophia, for providing all of that valuable information for us. Now I would like to open the floor for all of our members to ask their own questions about SLC. Don't be afraid to speak up and ask whatever you have on your mind, because chances are if you're wondering about it, someone else is too. So now I'll let everybody speak up and we'll try to answer your questions.
It's a bit of an odd question. It's not really related to the conference itself. But since nobody's really asking anything, do you know when the judge forms are due? Sorry.
So if you have anybody who's interested in judging, we actually take those up to the day of state, mainly because there are things that happen where some judges get sick or other things happen. And so we might lose any of the days. So if judges are interested, we'll take that all the way up to April 5th.
Thank you.
That was a good question. Thank you for asking. Is there anybody else who has something that we're wondering about?
We talked a lot about like how good it is to network with people at state. I just was wondering if there's any like tips on good ways to find people to network with throughout the conference.
I would say that one of the biggest ways is just to show up to everything that you can. Make sure you're attending all the workshops and going to all of the other events we have going on, because there's going to be a lot of people there. And really, if you want to find people to network with, there's usually a lot of icebreaker activities and other cool things like that you can kind of stumble upon people, and just make sure you really connect with them whenever you're doing activities with them. If you find that you really connect with someone, maybe try to get their social media or something like that. It's really good idea to reach out to your state officers as well if you would like to connect with us, because even though we're leaving office, maybe we're a good connection for you to have anyway, or some of us are reapplying for the next year, so they'll still be around to help you out. But otherwise, yeah, just talk to your leaders, talk to other members, anyone that's around. Make sure you're putting yourself out there in places that we have a lot of people around and a lot of things going on.
I had one more quick question. Are we gonna have a goose chase this year? If not, we should.
No, I do not believe we're having a goose chase this year. They're super fun, so I get why you'd want to, but I don't think
Wow.
that we're gonna do that this year.
Wow. There are my feelings. All right.
All right, thank you for asking that. Is there anything else before we close this up?
I was wondering what you thought the most valuable part of being a state officer was, and what you thought you like learned the most, and like what experiences you benefited from the most.
Um,
Go ahead.
what I'd say I've probably benefited from the most is kind of like my personal growth, whether it be like my professionalism, my leadership abilities, like just things like that. Because I know that coming into my first year as a state officer, I did all of my candidacy stuff online. And so I didn't really have to put myself out there quite as much as you do running in person. And so I came in still a little bit shy, a little bit nervous. But I can definitely say that like since then though, I've definitely come out of my shell quite a lot, gained quite a bit of confidence in my professionalism and leadership abilities. And I think another thing that you get a lot out of is just a lot of connections. You network and meet so many amazing people as a state officer. Like I have friends from my state officer team last year. I have a ton of friends on my state team this year. I've been able to make friends with some of the national officers, and then just a lot of other members from around the country as well. And not even just members, but also advisors and staff. You get to make a lot of cool connections that without FBLA, I know I never would have made. That's personally what I think the best two things about it are. Does anyone else have like a different thing that they'd want to add that's their best part of it, I guess?
I do. I do.
Oh,
My favorite part as a district state officer was running the district conference. That is like your baby. You put so much work into that and so much effort. And it's just so amazing to see you reap the benefits. And it's just so impactful and so powerful to see all that work just come into a big head, and then you see it, and it's just an amazing feeling to know that all that hard work has paid off. That's been the most valuable thing to me, and I've learned so much about hard work and how important it is to really get the best outcome. So that's definitely what I've learned from this year.
I agree with Samantha and McKenna. So like definitely with districts, like you spend months and months grinding for that one day to happen, and then once it finally happens, it's like mind blowing, and like to see everything go just as you thought you wanted it to go is just awesome. In terms of like learning things, I'd say you speak in front of a lot of people as a state officer, so it definitely helps in terms of like public speaking. Like you might have been scared to go up into a crowd of say like, I don't know, 50 to 100 people talking, but then it becomes a lot easier once you've done that repetitively over and over.
I would say for me, the most rewarding thing is I work a lot with our social media accounts. So seeing engagement and seeing people being active on those are always super fun. And then this year we worked really hard on trying to hit our TikTok account and get it more active. And we've increased our followers by a lot this year. So that's been really exciting for me and just rewarding knowing that the post and the effort you've made to try to get people to see things and try to get information out there is finally paying off.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
I'm gonna bounce off Jake, and very similarly, what was a really memorable moment with the member? Like a specific, I know it might sound odd, but if someone really needed help at a conference, or they were just bouncing off the walls, or I don't know, but
I have one for that. It's actually with a middle level member from Jenkins Middle School. I met her at CTSO leadership kickoff, and I was just talking to her in our workshop, and she came off as very mature and so much of a leader to me. And I'm like, what's going on with you? How are you? And she told me she was an 8th grader, and that blew me away. and we continued to stay in contact in social media. We were always reposting each other's awards and stuff like that. And then we just had the middle level conference, and she came up to me and gave me a big hug. And it's just so amazing to have a friend like that who I just see every so often, but we're still so like close.
I'd say for my, are you going, McKenna?
Nope, you go, Kendall.
Okay. I'd say for me was in the middle of District 4. I was presenting a workshop with Sam, and an advisor came like running in and stopped me and was like, "Oh my gosh, my kid's competing in job interview. Can you please help me? Like, he doesn't know where he needs to be or what he needs to do, or if he just hands his stuff right away," because that's the event I competed in. And so I got to talk to her, and then later that same kid came and talked to me and told me thank you. So just knowing that like I could help somebody there was really impactful for me.
I know that my like kind of similar experience like that. So it came right after state leadership conference last year. And I was getting like a lot of texts from my friends, like congratulations on getting president, all of that. But I got one from just a girl, she followed me. I didn't know who she was, but she's a Colorado FBLA member, and she just was like, thank you so much. Like, you're an inspiration. You'll do amazing. And like, to me, that just felt amazing because she doesn't even know me. And so that was just like a really good, like, okay, like this is why I'm doing it kind of thing, you know? And then it was great because then come time of the CTSO leadership kickoff training, a girl comes up to me and I kind of recognized her, but didn't know I recognized her. And then she was like, "Hi, you don't know me, but," and I looked down at her name tag and was like, "Oh my God, that's her." And so that was probably one of the coolest moments I've had, especially because that was months later. But so that was a really cool moment for me because it was kind of getting from just the beginning of it to her like still remembering that message and me remembering it and getting to connect with her about that. That's probably my like most memorable thing with a member.
My most memorable moment is like a little more emotional to me, but last year I had some health problems and I had to wear wigs at SLC, and this is something I was like really scared to do and go and talk in front of people for. But a little freshman member like came up to me because we were competing in events at the same time, and she told me that she had cancer for a long time and had to wear wigs, and just seeing someone on stage who like looked like her, who had something similar to her, made her feel more included and more welcomed. And that's always been a moment that's been like really important to me.
Thank you. I appreciated hearing from every one of you. I think working with people and being around people is the coolest thing. So I thought I'd ask.
Do we have any other questions? All right, then if there's anybody that wants to share, we have just kind of like, there's one thing that stuck out to you that you want to share with us from tonight, that would be great.
I really like Teresa's tip about her Tide pen because I'm really clumsy and that could really happen to me. So I'm glad she shared that with everyone.
It was interesting for me to hear that Kansas does the whole campaigning thing, whereas like ours is more like a selection process, like a committee and everything, and like how they do it so similar to the national level.
I liked hearing Sophia talk about how much the members that we meet at SLC can be really impactful for our lives in the future, and how much getting to know members in Colorado will really help us a lot, but also be a very unique and really quality experience.
I liked the Q&A session, just hearing from all of you guys, whether it was my question or Jake's or, a different one. But I think all of you guys have done an awesome job as state officers, and you guys all really care, and I look up to you guys. So yeah.
Well, thank you, Gabe. Is there anybody else that would like to share out something from tonight? All right, then we will go ahead and move on. So what we need to do now is vote for our NLC pin design. And so for any of you that don't know, oh, and before I forget, the link to vote for this will be a Google Forms link, and it will be in the chat here on the Zoom meeting. So just click on that and it should lead you straight to where you need to go to vote. So going back, so for those of you that don't know what the NLC pin design are for, so these are for our trading pins that we will have at nationals. Sophia kind of hit on it a little bit earlier, but pin trading at nationals can get kind of crazy. And so we always want to make sure we have a cool pin so that we can trade it for all the other cool pins that we want. So out of one of these 4 options, this will be what roughly, when there may be a couple of changes, roughly be what our pin design will be for 2023 National Leadership Conference. So I'll go ahead and give everybody a minute to get on and vote for that, and then move on here in a minute. Is anybody else having troubles getting access to the form? Okay, it looks like it.
This is
If
definitely
you have it with a school account, try not using a school account because sometimes school accounts can get blocked.
Did you switch over the thing that lets it have people outside of our network?
Let me double check.
Try it again.
If it didn't work, go ahead and try it again now. All right, well, I'm gonna guess that it was working for everybody and everyone was taking a second to look at it. So we'll go ahead and move on with announcements. If you didn't get a chance to finish that, no worries, you can finish it up really quick after the meeting. So now we just have a few other announcements before we get out of here tonight. So reminder that after this meeting, if we have any state officer candidates on with us tonight, you guys are welcome to stay and chat with us and ask any questions that you guys may have. The production testing for SLC, the window is going to be between March 17th and 29th. So that opens up this Friday. And the pre-judge submission window is also going to be the same, the 17th through the 29th. We also have our SLC survival guide series going on. So if you are having any more SLC questions, make sure you're taking a look at that. And then if you are doing BAAs and are wanting to get recognized at SLC, the deadline for this is April 1st. And this does not include the NLC recognition for capstone. The date for this is May 3rd. So as our March monthly membership meeting comes to an end, I hope everyone learned something new that they can go back and take in their prep for SLC, which is less than a month away. I hope you guys are all as excited about it as we are. But be sure to follow Colorado FBLA, especially leading up to SLC. We'll have a lot of new information, a lot of announcements, things like that going out on there. And you can just follow this at Colorado FBLA on all of our social media accounts. And make sure that you're checking out our Memo Mondays and our website, coloradofbla.org, for any upcoming state information as well. This is going to be a good spot to look. Feel free to reach out to any of us state officers still. We're still available for chapter visits if we can get it in. It can be virtual or in person if time and distance allows. Also reach out to us if you have any questions, whatever it might be. So this was our last monthly membership meeting for the 2022-2023 FBLA year. The state officer team and myself would like to thank all of the members that have attended these meetings throughout the year. Next time you attend a monthly membership meeting, it will be by a new state officer team. So we cannot wait to see you all at the Colorado FBLA State Leadership Conference on April 5th through the 7th at the Gaylord of the Rockies. Thank you all for coming tonight, as well as throughout this whole year. And the March monthly membership meeting is now adjourned.